This week, the fall vaccination campaign began, but it's not just the usual flu shot. This year, there's also a new COVID vaccine available. It targets a newer strain of the virus. While the Provincial Health Service has set up clinics, pharmacies across the province are also giving the shots. Stephanie Burden is a pharmacist in Rocky Harbour, and that's where we've reached her. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Peter.
So how much interest have you seen in getting the shot this year?
Actually, I will say I'm very proud to say that we are seeing quite a bit of interest. I think that could be due to the fact that you can now get and last year you could as well, but get your flu vaccine in one arm and your COVID vaccine in the other arm. So we're really trying to make it as easy for people as possible. And I think that's been a pro in seeing some good uptake.
So who are you recommending get this? Who's gets the most benefit from this latest version of the COVID vaccine?
Yeah, so obviously, as healthcare professionals, everyone would benefit from the COVID vaccine. But we understand that people are experiencing vaccine fatigue. They're tired of so many shots. And so I really want to kind of touch on some high-risk groups. If you're in some of these high-risk groups, you really should consider getting the vaccine, even if you are tired of it. So people over the age of 60, they would be in a high-risk group, meaning that they're at a higher risk of being hospitalized due to COVID or having long-term complications. So if you're over 60, and then the risk goes up with each decade as well. Then there are people with chronic health conditions, even if they're under the age of 60. So we're talking about people with high blood pressure, diabetes, dementia, certainly any lung conditions like asthma or COPD. And I don't mean patients that are over 60 that have these medical conditions, but even if you're younger and you have these medical conditions as well. So even if you're an otherwise healthy 35-year-old, but you have chronic asthma, it definitely would be a good idea for you to get the COVID booster.
What about people, though, who maybe have already had COVID once, maybe even twice, and they said, yeah, I may be in that group, but it wasn't that bad for me. I had it, I was sick for a day or two, and that was it.
Yeah, so if you've had COVID infection in the last 6 months, you don't really need the booster right now. So you have to look at your timing because you likely have some immunity already to the circulating virus. But if you've had COVID infection a year ago, it's a different virus that's circulating, a different variant that's circulating now. So really the boosters and the viruses that you would have had a year ago are not the same as the booster that we would be giving now.
How bad is the COVID situation right now? How many people are you seeing coming in either just looking to, something to help with the symptoms, or if they're in those higher risk groups asking for things like Paxlovid, which can help prevent hospitalization?
Yeah, we've definitely seen an increase, certainly over the summer. We've definitely seen an increase. And of course, we know that the variant that's circulating now is not a good fit for the previous boosters that people would have had. And we expect, of course, that that's going to increase with the fall respiratory virus season. So we're expecting an increase for sure.
Well, thanks so much for joining us and telling us all about it.
Excellent. Thanks for having me, Peter.